It is the last Sunday of the month of February in the year 2026. Good afternoon. Welcome to Weekend Central. This bulletin, of course, is coming to you live from the news app here at Adesawekanda. We are live on Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana, on DSTV, it's channel 279. My name is George Queening. Top of the stories this hour. We take you to Bolgatanga municipality of the Upper East region, where proper pepper and tomatoes are going bad on farms as farmers at Zari irrigation farms. Governance expert Professor David Abdullahi laws President Mahama of a move to present an African Union-backed resolution to UN on the transatlantic slave trade. My name is George Quinn. You have details of these and many more coming up in the next 16 minutes if you spend your time with me. You can also get interactive with us. We are live on Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana. And now we take you to Bolgatanga municipality of the Upper East region. And ripe pepper and tomatoes are going bad on farms as farmers at Zari irrigation farms. The farmers are complaining about lack of ready markets for the pepper. The farmers say they took loans for the production of the vegetable. And if nothing is done to get the pepper out of the farms, they will lose their huge investments. And now let's connect with our East Regional Correspondent, Tanko Mohammed Rabiu, and he has more on this, and he's joining us via Zoom. Tanko, tell us about the Zari irrigation farms and the crops planted there.
Yes, thank you very much. These are dry season farms in the cultivation of pepper, tomatoes, and onions through the irrigation, through the IPO facilities, straight from the beer dam through to the canals and then to their farms.
So Tanko, so tell us, how many acres are being cultivated with the pepper and tomatoes?
Yes, okay, over there are over 400,000 acres of farmlands that is currently being used in the cultivation of these vegetables. But yesterday when I went there, the farmers said most of these farmlands have been abandoned due to lack of ready market for these vegetables. So because of that, they are not able to use most of these farmlands. And then most especially, they have issue with water from IPO, because the last time they were charged for using the water from the Vietnam, it was 100 Ghana cedis, but now it's being raised to 300 Ghana cedis. So there are a lot of challenges that is confronting them, but their concern is the ready market, and that is why they are not able to use the entire 400,000, over 400,000 acres of farmland there.
That's a huge number. Tell us about the plight of the farmers and how severe are the losses farmers are facing.
Yes, yesterday, in fact, the farmers were frustrated. Some are even planning to abandon the place because they have invested easily. They have taken loans, as you said, they have taken loans to invest in these farms. So because of that, because of the way buyers are not coming, they said that the farmers are not even, the buyers are not even coming to even bargain on the price. But yesterday I asked them whether it's because of the pricing that they have the market. They said no. Okay. That people don't even come at all to ask of the price. Yesterday I spoke to them, and then let's listen to what some of them are saying.
All right then.
They are not buying it. So we also stop the pepper so that it will go, they'll all go to Burkina and buy it. Today, we heard that the Burkina people, they kill Ghanaians there with a car, burn the car. Now, a lady came out and said they should work via and Tono so that they will be buying the tomatoes and pepper there. Look today, look at the way the pepper has risen. We can't get market. So how am I farming next time? So government to come to our aid. We are just begging. Look at this thing, what am I going to do? The market woman doesn't come. We don't know this is something that is happening. No one that comes to say we should reduce it and we don't reduce it. They don't even come. No market. I was a driver. I wasn't in the farm. But if I don't have driving work again, I have to come to the farm. Today, what you want me to go? If you have place for me to go and steal, I can go and steal. I can go and be stealing. So my other friend behind me, if he also see that I'm busy at the farm, he can also come and join me. Today, will he also come to join me? You see that I've suffered day and night, or I'm always in the farm.
Market.
We've sent some to the market. The market need to arrive market. The market woman say we should still stand here. This place is for them. They are here always selling pepper. You ship to this place, that person too will come and say you ship your pepper from here. So at last, you the farmer, you just tend to some as a human being that you don't even understand yourself. In your own place, no market, nothing. So what am I going to do? We suffered before we had this even water to do it. You can still see that the ground is wet, dry. No water. Our canal is no good. Government to turn at our side. You see. So all this thing, you suffer and go and reach today, no market. What will you do? Eating self. The women, they will come to pluck. If they pluck, they will get the pepper some, they will still pay them money. Them all, they are choke. The women are there. They are under the tree there. Plenty.
Challenges, we need buyers to come and buy, and we can't get. Even if you get the buyer, sometimes the price, instead of them buying for us to get profit, then they normally buy at any price they want. Even you can be plucking the pepper without knowing the price. After that, they will come and then load, go to Accra or Kumasi. Then they will take more than 1 week before they will bring you the money. So we have a lot of challenges in the marketing. If the government could have a way of helping us so that we have access to the buyers from Kumasi, so that we have one talk, and then so that everything will be good. The price may be high there, and then here it will be 200 or 300 Ghana cedis, which we can't, whereby a bag of fertilizer is 500. The chemicals we use like E-Massa and what, they're all expensive.
Those were some tomato and pepper farmers at Zari speaking to the news team. Earlier we spoke to our Upper East Regional correspondent, Tanko Mohammed Rabiu. And let's still on agriculture. Tomato traders in Koforidua are calling on the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to enforce stricter measures to improve the quality and yield of locally grown tomatoes. The traders say boosting domestic production would reduce the need for women to travel to neighboring Burkina Faso to purchase tomatoes, particularly at a time of ongoing security unrest in parts of the country.
Follows the tragic death of a mother of two from Koforidua, who was reportedly killed with 7 others by militants at Tetao in Burkina Faso while on a business trip to procure tomatoes. The incident has left the local trading community in shock. The mother of the deceased, visibly distraught, said the loss has left them devastated.
I have lost a great daughter, cared for me, and then family financially. At the Koforidua market, tomatoes traders urged the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to prioritize policies that ensure the production of high-quality tomatoes locally. They argue that although tomatoes are cultivated in the country, many consumers and traders prefer imported produce due to concerns about quality and reliable supply. It is terrifying traveling to Burkina, but that is our livelihood. We pray the government to help improve tomato farming in our country. Burkina tomatoes have more fiber and a longer shelf life compared to our locally produced tomatoes. The government should support our farmers to improve the quality of their produce so we can sell and compete with the best tomatoes. According to data from the Ghana Statistical Service and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture,
Ghana imports thousands of tons of tomatoes annually from Burkina Faso to supplement local supply, highlighting the country's heavy reliance on its northern neighbor. The National Dean of the Metropolitan Municipal and District Chief Executive, who also doubles as the new job installed Municipal Chief Executive, Ransford Owusu-Boakye, urged traders to remain security conscious while government works to find lasting solutions to stabilize the sector and improve local production.
To advise our traders, especially our women, to be very conscious of their security anywhere they find themselves. Unfortunately, this thing didn't happen here. So it's a lesson. Those of our traders who are applying the Ghana, Burkina, Ghana, Togo, Ghana, Nigeria, they should all be careful with their lives. The government can protect you, but the onus is on us to also protect ourselves.
And now the drastic drop in the world price of cocoa, one of Ghana's largest foreign exchange earners, has plunged the sector into deep crisis. The price cut has triggered protest from some farmers and sharp political divisions. There's more in this report.
Decision and maintain the old price. This week, some cocoa farmers protested in the Western North region, calling on government to reverse the decision to save their livelihoods. Speaking on the key points, the Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party, Richard Ahiagba, urged government to take a more strategic, not emotional approach to the challenges facing Ghana's cocoa sector. He stressed that clearing arrears and adopting practical measures will be key to stabilizing the industry.
The government has to come in with creative ideas to see how do we maintain the industry, because this is not just about the farmer, it's about the country and our economy as well. So if you are just going to be emotional about it and say that, oh, it's going down, so we're also going to go down, that is not strategic. In our time, cocoa prices went down. They always go down. Cocoa is not one thing you can say, oh, if we don't produce cocoa and sell cocoa again, we are fine. We have to. So the idea about processing it is great. So the decision that is made has the potential to collapse.
But MDC Member of Parliament for Sagnarigu, who is also a member of the Finance Committee, Ata Issa, says the cocoa crisis situation is from the past. According to him, the previous MPP administration left the Ghana Cocoa Board with loans of 17.8 billion Ghana cedis, adding that the current National Democratic Congress government has already cleared 3.4 billion of that debt.
By the time the NDC took office, the total amount of money we were owing the African Development Bank was 1.72 billion Ghana cedis. Dr. Randy Abe and the finance minister has already paid 1.2 billion Ghana cedis, even under these difficulties. And people will ask, why did we pay when we can't pay the cocoa farmer? Let me tell you something. Dr. Randy Abe has already paid 165 million out of the 209 million.
That is the interest.
Interest. So the more you delay or defer payment of the African Development Bank loan, the more you pay the interest cost on it.
Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor Ransford Jampo, who was also on the key points, said the challenges of the cocoa sector were not created in just 1 year. He called on the government to engage directly with farmers.
The current crop of NDC appointees have been overly focused on fixing problems and not reporting the problems before fixing. And I think that it's important that we multitask by trying to let people know the true state of affairs before you begin to address them. In so doing, you are able to shut up those who may have contributed to the problem. You can see clearly that some interventions have been announced, and which, when in my view, when properly followed, we'll make some giant strides in making the cocoa sector quite vibrant.
A former Asante Achim North MP, Andy Apiakubi, criticized the financial management of the Ghana Cocoa Board, questioning why the institution has resorted to borrowing to sustain its operations.
3 years down the line after the formation, Cocoa Board ought to have had enough reserve to be able to continue its operations. In fact, into maybe years. In any case, when the man doesn't have money, why does he have to give money for others? You understand? And basic economics. When you go to public service, you know that there are these expectations. And if you accept to be equal to the tax there, we cannot bring any excuse to say that I didn't understand. Because I didn't understand should be discussed at the point of entry.
As part of government reforms, a new cocoa board bill will be presented to Parliament to introduce an automatic adjustment of producer prices based on world market trends and exchange rates. The government has also decided that going forward, a minimum of 50% of Ghana's cocoa beans be processed locally. Also, Cocoa Board's 4.35 billion Ghana cedis in road construction liabilities will be transferred to the Ministry of Roads and Highways and the Ministry of Finance, relieving the board of non-core financial burdens.
And now several makeshift structures and excavator control boards have been destroyed. The items believed to be used for illegal mining were seized alongside a pickup truck during a 2-day anti-illegal mining operation in the Wasa-Menfi West Municipality of the Western Region. The Regional Security Task Force Against Illegal Mining says it will continue its operations along the Tano and Ankobra rivers. Here's a report by my colleague, Rama Smith.
Following a series of serious pollution incidents affecting the Tano River and surrounding farmlands, the Western Regional Security Task Force Against Illegal Mining has for the first time extended its anti-illegal mining operations to Wasa-Menfi West. The team, comprising of personnel from the National Security, the Western Naval Command, the 2nd Infantry Battalion and the Blue Water Guards, conducted both land and riverine operations during this exercise. It raided 4 communities, namely Sefiekra, Yabebe, Bena, and Atakwesi, where illegal miners operate along the banks of the Tano River and wash their waste directly into the river. The Navy was unable to patrol the Tano River due to its current state. It was observed that the illegal miners have developed a new strategy of removing essential parts of the excavators, including control boards and monitors, as well as demobilizing the machinery, making it impossible for the task force to track the equipment.
We discovered that most of the illegal miners were operating along close to the Tano River. And all the activities in terms of washing their soil goes into the Tano River and therefore causing serious pollution. We managed to seize some excavators, but on hearing of our presence, all of them fled and took most of the control board and even conducted certain mechanics on the excavators, and therefore it affected seriously how it can be evacuated from the site.
Despite this, the team was able to burn makeshift structures along the riverbanks, destroy pumping machines, seize 1 Toyota pickup, and remove 3 control boards of some excavators, which were difficult to track due to the nature of the terrain. The team leader, Brigadier General Musa Waja, retired, stated there will be sustained operations on the river for illegal miners operating along the riverbanks to seize their activities.
So there will be sustained operation to create the necessary awareness for these illegal miners who are operating in the river and along its banks to stop the activities in order to improve the surface of the river. There are a lot of challenges, but it's not something that will hinder our operation. And I can assure the good people of the Western region that the River Tano and River Ankobra will be rescued.
Rama Smith, TV3 News, Western Region.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching the Weekend Central, the last Sunday edition of the month of February. And now the Black Volta River, which serves as a vital source of water and livelihood for thousands in northern Ghana, was on the brink of collapse due to rampant illegal mining activities on the river. But the deployment of Blue Water Guards is bringing renewed hope for this lifeline. Christopher Marco has more in this report.
Water Guards initiative, launched by the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry in 2025, aims to protect the country's water bodies from pollution and degradation. trained by the Ghana Navy. These guards are equipped with skills in surveillance, water monitoring, and enforcement tactics to combat illegal mining activities.
We have seen some attempts by youth and also some coming from other neighboring countries to mine on the water.
For the people living along the Black Volta Basin in the Bole district, the Black Volta is more than just a river. It is their life. The water used to look terrible and dangerous for our consumption due to the Galamsey operations, but now we are able to drink and even do business with the water. The water guards are trying, but it's not enough. The deployment of blue water guards has already shown promising results. The guards patrol the river to ensure that illegal miners operating on the river are dealt with. But this is not without challenges.
Now, the Blue Water Guard operations team have just arrived at the river bank to undertake an operation on the river because of an intelligence they gathered that some galamseyers are on some portions of the river. Unfortunately, having arrived here, there is no canoe for them to ply this water to undertake this operation.
Anytime we come for an operation on the Black Volta, it's always difficult for us to cross because a lot of challenges are facing. We don't have the boat. At the same time, no life jacket. So when you come and the enemy jump into the water, it becomes hard for you to trace. Sometimes the machine is inside the water working. That is the Galamsey operators. So it's hard for you to take a boat and trace them because the fishermen, when you come and ask them to trace, they will tell them no, because when they send you there, it will be a problem between them and the Galamsey people too.
The guards patrol the river to ensure that illegal miners operating on the river are dealt with.
As you can see now, the water is clean. I think when we came, we saw some boys fetching water with Motor King here. At first, I'm not sure you can be able to drink that water, but for now, it's very clean. That is why you see those boys coming to fetch the water for their domestic purposes.
Through their operations, illegal mining activities have decreased and water quality has improved. Despite the distribution of some motorbikes and other logistics to the Blue Water Guards by the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, challenges such as non-availability of a speedboat and life jackets still persist. This, according to the guards, is affecting their smooth operations.
Some of the machines always be in the water. We're supposed to go and bring it out, but we cannot go there. So we are still praying for him that he should try and best and give us distance and the boat and the life jacket.
Since the inauguration of the Blue Water Guards in the Bole district in August 2025, about 40 chamfam machines, 10 water pumping machines, and a tricycle have been impounded and destroyed. Coordinator of the operations in the Bole enclave, Tahiru Omega, expressed optimism that the operations will continue to fully restore the water bodies and the environment.
Previously, if you came here, you would have seen that the water is milky or brownish. But today, it is clear and people are using it for their domestic activities. Even the Ivorian government has tapped it here to Bona, where people drink and use it for their domestic or everyday activities.
The Blue Water Guards have been actively supporting the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, in nationwide operations. The Black Volta area is officially recognized as a critical water body, and all illegal mining activities in this area are prohibited.
The Bole area in the Savannah region is noted for its Galamsey operations, especially on the Black Volta River. The miners deposit heavy metals like mercury and cyanide, which are dangerous for human consumption. Well, as a country, sustainability has always been a cause of concern. It is the hope and belief of hundreds, if not thousands, of residents living along the Black Volta River that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources will continue its Blue Water Guard program to clean the Black Volta River. Christopher Mwako, TV3 News, Chache, Bole District.
Governance expert Professor David Abdullahi has lauded President John Dramani Mahama for the move to present an African Union-backed resolution to the United Nations General Assembly to declare the transatlantic slave trade and slavery the gravest crimes against humanity. In an interview with Evelyn Tinkma, he said reparations advocacy requires sustained and forceful effort, adding that African nationals and the diaspora must exert pressure to secure reparations as voluntary compliance is unlikely.
President Mahama's upcoming presentation to the UN could mark a defining moment in the evolution of international justice norms. The initiative, endorsed by the African Union, is expected to be tabled before the United Nations General Assembly in March. It seeks formal global recognition that the transatlantic slave trade constituted the most outrageous crime against humanity in recorded history, which experts say carries moral, political, and potentially legal implications. According to governance expert Professor David Abdullahi, the resolution is less about reopening history and more about reshaping how international law understands historical injustice.
No one who wields power gives it easily without a force. Ghana could face repercussions, but it is not only Ghana that is fighting or trying to make sure that old wrongs are written well. And I think President Mahama is just leading that effort. But whatever it is, it's not about Mahama, it's about we as a people, we as Africans and African Americans.
Some critics have questioned whether the move risks being purely symbolic. But others have argued that symbolism at the UN level often shapes long-term policy direction. Some see the move as one that could bolster reparation campaigns led by African and Caribbean states, strengthening calls for return of looted cultural artifacts, and encourage formal apologies from former slave trading nations. Professor Abdullah argues reparations are impractical, unjust to descendants, and economically unmanageable, yet they overlook moral and historical injustices that continue to harm African nations.
It's not about money. Most people, when they talk about reparations, they are looking about money. First, it's about accepting the moral responsibility that what was undertaken at that time is wrong. It's also to look at the same nation as what impact did it actually have on most of those countries that their citizens in Africa were enslaved. Some countries might have political will, like the Netherlands, but most countries are not willing to. They are not going to necessarily willingly come to the table to say, we apologize for willing to. There must be a forceful effort from African countries and, Africans in the diaspora, to be able to force them to come to that point. The resolution is a starting point.
But the question still lingers. Is it likely to be adopted?
Unless the U.S. comes in with its veto. If not, I think it's going to pass. Those countries who have the veto power are the ones that usually, put a wrench into all these efforts. But I am optimistic that it will go through. But most of the countries are not going to willingly do that. There is going to be some lobbying, there's going to be some force, and so on and so forth. And where it doesn't go through, it can affect diplomatic relations between us and most of the Western or European countries.
As March approaches, diplomatic engagement is expected to intensify. For many governance experts or observers, the initiative represents more than a policy proposal. It is a bid to redefine how the international community confronts the enduring legacy of one of history's darkest chapters. Evelyn Tinkma, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, let's know what you make of this call for, historic justice. We're active on Facebook as TV3 and engage us with your comments, observations. Hopefully, we'll read them and share them to the rest of the world. And now they left Ghana to pursue opportunity abroad, but their ties to home have never weakened. From remittances to investment and expertise, the diaspora remains a vital force in national development. Now, a proposed constitutional amendment could allow dual citizens to hold high public office, sparking a fresh debate about identity, loyalty, and the future of leadership in Ghana. My colleague, Edina Mahaliga, has more in the following report.
For years, Ghanaians living abroad have been sending more than just money back home. But despite their contribution, the law has drawn a line. Under Article 8, Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution, Ghanaians who hold citizenship in another country are barred from occupying certain high positions, including ambassador or high commissioners, chief of defense staff, inspector general of police, and other key national security positions. Supporters of a proposed amendment say that restriction no longer reflects today's Ghana.
If you want to be able to attract the needed talent, the needed resources, the needed skills to move nation Ghana forward, we should not create any barrier for any Ghanaian, whether a person holds a dual or does not hold a dual citizen. So we are not saying that a Nigerian should come and naturalize in Ghana and want to go and sit in parliament. No. I mean, look at our criminal law, look at Act 30 and Act 29. I mean, if you're a Ghanaian who commits a crime in Ghana, anywhere, you can be brought back to this country and you answer for it. And so you don't need to be a dual citizen or otherwise to run away from the law.
They argue that if dual citizens can build businesses, create jobs, and contribute to national development, why should they be excluded from serving at the highest levels? But not everyone is convinced. Legal experts warn that constitutional amendments are never simple. Allegiance is not just symbolic, it's foundational. National security, loyalty, and integrity of leadership remain sensitive concerns.
Great mind as such should not be prevented from occupying a position or should not be forced to either repudiate or his other citizenship before he's allowed to occupy a position. So I think yes, it's high time we do that. However, we should maintain for maybe key positions like presidency, maybe the presidency, the vice presidency, the speaker, and then the CJ. Those ones, we can do that. Even in the US, if you are a dual citizen, you can't come close to the White House.
On the streets, Ghanaians are split.
I'm not okay with that because those have cars and those kind of things, if he came to here, they don't respect us because they think that they are white and their color is different. So if we are working with them and all those things, they don't even respect us at all. So me, I'm not okay with that.
We wouldn't like them to come and use their authority on us. We are here, we know what is going on here. So opposition in the country should be the indigenous who are here. It's not somebody who is out there who come and be putting laws on us. I won't prefer it.
At its heart, the debate goes beyond passport. It raises a deeper question. What does it truly mean to belong? Enyunam Haliga, TV3 News, Accra.
Although female genital mutilation, FGM, has been outlawed in Ghana for over 2 decades now, the practice persists in some communities, particularly in parts of the Upper West and Upper East regions of Ghana. Our health correspondent, Sarah Apankro, in this report, takes a closer look at the hidden cost of FGM on women and child reproductive health.
Female genital mutilation, FGM, remains a serious concern in parts of Ghana, driven by long-standing cultural, social, and religious beliefs. Though globally recognized as a violation of the human rights of girls and women, millions remain at risk each year. For many survivors, the trauma begins in infancy. Korima Ibrahim was cut when she was just a week old.
I only got to know I was a survivor when I was in secondary school. Aside my clitoris being taken out, do you know what else it took from me? My beautiful smiles. I started seeing myself not to be a complete human again. I started asking questions. and my questions I never had access to. So you could see that pain, that anger to fight, but then I can't. Who am I to fight people who are taking care of you? I'm a mother. I'm giving birth. Severally, because of that, I couldn't have a normal, vaginal birth. I have to go through cesarean 3 times because I had 3 kids. The doctor told me that, look, we need to go for cesarean. You can push.
Now an advocate against the practice, she says the long-term physical and emotional effects are difficult to describe. She's urging policymakers to strengthen support systems for survivors.
We don't need to channel all our efforts in the northern region. Even here at Agbogbloshie, just last 2 years, a small baby was being cut. We have our brothers and sisters here in Agbogbloshie. So they mutilated their child and the baby died. A lot of the policymakers think it's only done enough. They don't know that it's also happening. So for us, we have northerners anywhere they settle, and they believe in cutting the clitoris. Even if you go to US, if you go to anywhere, they will still cut it. So they should also try to check here. It's happening under our own nose. Appreciate whatever you're doing, but it will never stop. Yes, so let's look at that and also think of how we can help the survivors to also restore their clitoris back.
Health experts warn that women who have undergone FGM face increased risks during childbirth, including severe bleeding, infections, chronic pelvic pain, menstrual complications, and psychological trauma.
The narrowing could be so bad that even urination is a problem. You have to urinate with some pains. Sometimes they leave just a small opening for the periods to pass there and come out. It's caused a lot of sexual dysfunction, marital problems, and then infertility. For those who we miss them at that stage and then they come to us, the treatment depends on the severity of it. There are certain types that you don't need to do any surgical intervention for them. But the severe one that causes a lot of narrowing, then those ones, you have to go open up the opening to widen it so that the periods will come freely and the pain during sex will stop, so you'll be able to have adequate sex. So that process is available, especially in our teaching hospitals. That can be done.
Child protection agencies report that while Ghana's national prevalence has declined to about 2.4% among women aged 15 to 49, the practice remains most common in parts of the Upper West and Upper East regions.
Female genital mutilation is a violation of the rights of women and girls. It's truly a nightmare, one that nobody wants to see or hear about. However, it continues to happen. There are higher risk of complications developing when this woman is old enough and begins to have children.
FGM was criminalized in Ghana in 1994, with the law strengthened in 2007. However, enforcement remains a challenge, particularly in remote communities where tradition and social acceptance continue to sustain the practice.
So there are a lot of challenges we face, but the underlying one usually is the fact that because it's a cultural something, when you are engaging these community members, it doesn't take a day for them to change from what they have been doing for a very long time and what they believe in. So sometimes we have to keep engaging them. One of the strategies we employ in trying to get them is usually the women that are engaged in it. We try to have separate training meetings for them. It's something that people still hide behind the curtains and then they do it. But we keep on advocating and campaigning and sensitizing community members to know that if you are being caught, it's a criminal act.
Globally, more than 230 million girls and women across 30 countries in Africa, the Middle East and Asia have undergone FGM. Sarah Penkro, TV3 News, Accra.
You're still watching Weekend Central here on TV3. We're going for our first commercial break. We're back with more news. Stay with us. And now President John Dramani Mahama has paid a courtesy call on the Gamanche Kentucky Teko II to check on his condition following last week's road accident in the OT region. Officials from the palace described the visit as a gesture of respect and national solidarity, which underscores the importance of the Ghana state in Ghana's traditional governance structure.
Incident in the OT region involving the Gamanche Kentucky Teko II on Tuesday, 17th February 2026, sparked concern among residents and traditional authorities after his convoy was involved in a road crash while returning to Accra from a mission. Officials later confirmed there were no casualties and the king was evacuated to Accra, where he received medical attention at the University of Ghana Medical Center. Days after the incident, President Mahama visited the Gamanche to personally check on his recovery. Officials from the palace described the visit as a sign of national unity and respect for traditional leadership. Officials added that the king continues to respond well to treatment and is expected to resume official duties soon. Ambassador Jude Pakalote is the chief of protocol at the office of the Gamanche.
It's a very good gesture and we well appreciate it. It's not very often that you find leaders trying to show this kind of concern, this level of concern. But I think the speed with which he came and the interaction has been very fruitful and very good. And I think we well appreciate it. We would like to thank him. He has been discharged, and it means that the doctors are satisfied that his condition is very well, and we thank God for it.
The Gamanche Kentucky Teko II has since been officially discharged from the University of Ghana Medical Center.
Of the entire population of Ghana, 32 million plus, we wish him speedy recovery. And now, as of 2025, over 100,000 fresh students, including persons living with disability, have enjoyed President John Dramani Mahama's free tertiary education policy, a major educational reform targeted at equity and accessibility. However, this, for now, is exclusive to public universities and training colleges. The newly inducted president of the Baptist University, Professor Godwin Awabil, is appealing to the president to consider private universities in the new policy.
I want to take this opportunity to appeal to the president, His Excellency President John Mahama, and the Minister of Education to extend the free education that is offered to persons with special needs in public university to be extended to private universities, because some private universities are accessible to persons with disabilities. They may not be able to travel to public universities that are far away. So we are also pleading with the government that the president should extend the free education to persons with disability policy to students in private universities. That's our humble appeal, because our university is accessible to a number of persons with disabilities, and therefore we are appealing to, I'm using this platform to appeal to His Excellency.
And now the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Samuel Kaba Akoyira, has charged health research centers in the country to extend their research into finding lasting solutions to the annual meningitis-related deaths. Speaking during a working visit to the Upper East region, Professor Akoyira said evidence-based research would help the health authority in its preparedness and response to critical health issues. Castro Senyala has more in this following report.
The visit by the Director General and Council members of the Ghana Health Service to the Upper East region was part of intensified efforts to raise awareness about the threats of meningitis. The meningitis outbreak has so far claimed 5 lives in the northern part of the country. The team first called on the management of the Navrogo Health Research Center, where Professor Samuel Kaba Akoyira stressed the importance of health promotion and preventive measures in containing the disease.
I'm officially charging all the research centers to come out and tell us exactly why this seasonality and why our people are dying. We want evidence base so that we put an end to this.
The Director General and his team also visited the University of Technology and Applied Sciences in Avrongo, where he disclosed that the government has made meningitis treatment free of charge. The Vice Chancellor of the university, Professor Albert Logotra, assured the team of the institution's commitment to the awareness campaign among students. He also called for the establishment of the medical school to be fast-tracked to help train more doctors to address the doctor deficit in the region.
I'm also happy that some of the things we have discussed behind the scene materializing in terms of the specialist training and also the medical school. You can count us in any way we can, because I believe that these two interventions are critical for the health of the people of this region and its environment, because we all know that posting of doctors to this area has been quite a challenge. But this will be one way.
Castro Siala, TV3 News, Navrongo.
And now media professionals have been urged to take a frontline role in the fight against non-communicable diseases, NCDs, following a surge in NDCs-related mortalities in Ghana. Data from the Ghana Health Services indicate that NDS account for 65% of all deaths in the country.
Data from the World Health Organization shows that in Ghana alone, over 94,000 deaths were attributed to non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, cancers, diabetes, stroke, and cardiovascular diseases, among others, in 2016.
The prevalence of NCD has increased, so it's on the rise. And it's not only in Ghana, it's on the rise worldwide. But what we're saying is that some countries have put in measures to be able to minimize the rate at which it rises and at which it increases. And most of these measures are food-related policies. And that's why we're also trying to do that similarly in our part of the world.
Speaking at a media professionals training on non-communicable diseases, a nutritional biochemist from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Charles Apre, explained that such diseases are largely driven by lifestyle and environmental factors, particularly unhealthy diets. To address the growing crisis, health experts are advocating for urgent passage and enforcement of some key policy measures.
Apart from what we want the person to do, which is exercising, drinking more water, not drinking alcohol in their days, there are some policies that we have put in place which we're expecting Parliament to pass, which will come and support what we are doing. So one of them is that we will have what we call front of pack labeling, so that every packaged food that we have, whether drink, whether biscuits, whether even bread and the others, there will be a label on it indicating that this particular food that you are eating has this amount of salt, so it's healthy or it's not healthy. There are things that have been done in other countries and we can do the same in Ghana. Another one is marketing restrictions, so that our children who are mostly vulnerable will not be exposed to so many advertisements of unhealthy food, which they end up going with it and might lead to so many NCDs.
A major concern highlighted during the media training was the growing consumption of unhealthy foods, especially sugar-sweetened beverages. Ghana has already taken steps in the introduction of a sugar-sweetened beverage tax in 2023. However, stakeholders are calling for a broader fiscal measures to reduce consumption of unhealthy products.
It's been proven elsewhere in other countries that when these sugars are taxed, you're able to reduce, of course, the consumption, the times that people are going to consume them. We are not even also just calling for the taxing, but let's tax and get this money and use that money to incentivize the healthier food options.
As NCD cases continue to rise, stakeholders have emphasized the need to fight against these diseases to reduce premature death and safeguard national productivity.
Well, that's all time will allow us this very afternoon. For more news updates, you'd want to log on to our website, s3news.com. Right after this very bulletin, my colleague Kemini Amana joins the MP for Francis Iwi and also former Information Minister for Joe Nkrumah on hot issues. Do make a date. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Good afternoon.